For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. It's the one-year anniversary of Hamas's massacre in southern Israel that left 1,200 people dead and about 100 hostages still in Hamas captivity, which sparked Israel's war in Gaza. The death toll there, now more than 41,700, much of the Gaza Strip under rubble. Experts say it will take years to rebuild as the war rages on. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu Sunday said Israel is at war on 7 different fronts.
Israel is defending civilizations against those who seek to impose a dark age of fanaticism on all of us. Rest assured, Israel will fight until the battle is won, for our sake and for the sake of the peace and security of the entire world.
Hundreds attended an event at the site of the Nova Music Festival in southern Israel today, where Hamas and other militants gunned down some 360 attendees. Memorials and commemorations are taking place around the world. Ceasefire efforts have ground to a halt, but actions across the globe are also calling for an end to the war. Israelis gathered near Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's residence this morning, demanding he do more to end the war and bring hostages home. Hundreds of Israelis gathered on the eve of the first anniversary of the Hamas attack in New York Central Park Sunday to demand the return of hostages held in Gaza, chanting, "Bring them home now."
Bring them home now! Bring them home!
In San Francisco, protesters took to the streets calling for an end to the war and a U.S. arms embargo to Israel. Rawan El-Ada with the Palestinian Youth Movement read testimony from a cousin of hers who survived an Israeli airstrike in Gaza.
My other sister, her teeth and her arms were all smashed next to her on the ground, and you could only see the look of terror, fear, and shock frozen on their frozen faces. I wasn't even able to do anything. I couldn't even save my 2 sisters. After what felt like forever under the rubble, the neighbors and the people who came to help us get out, but they couldn't as Israel bombed them too, in the middle of them trying to pull my family out.
Meanwhile, Hamas launched airstrikes into Tel Aviv today, and Israel's military launched strikes across the Gaza Strip, ordering evacuations of Khan Yunis as it ramps up attacks it says target Hamas. Israel also launched strikes in Lebanon and Syria, targeting a number of military sites, according to the Sanaa news agency. Jordan's foreign minister is now warning Israel's strikes are pushing the Middle East into the abyss of war. Some 1.2 million Lebanese have been displaced by fighting between Israel and Hezbollah. United Nations Refugee Agency says Lebanon is seeing a major displacement crisis. Vice President and presidential candidate Democrat Kamala Harris doubled down support for Israel and for a ceasefire in a 60-minute interview. Alex Gonzalez reports.
Do we have an important alliance between the American people and the Israeli people? And the answer to that question is yes.
Today marks 1 year of war between Israel and Hamas. Despite continued violence, Vice President Kamala Harris says the United States supports Israel but remains committed to getting a ceasefire. The Hamas-run health ministry said 26 people were just killed in airstrikes on a Gaza mosque and school housing refugees. More than 40,000 Palestinians have died while conflict is now rising in Lebanon. I'm Alex Gonzalez for Pacifica Network and Public News Service.
U.S. aid to Israel's reached a record of at least $17.9 billion since the war in Gaza began. That's according to a report by Brown University's Cost of War Project released today. It says an additional $4.8 billion has gone into stepped-up military operations in the region since the October 7th attacks. Hurricane Milton has strengthened into a Category 3 and is barreling towards Florida. Officials are gearing up for what could be the largest evacuation in 7 years. The major hurricane's moving over the Gulf of Mexico, heading towards Tampa Bay. By Wednesday, Governor Ron DeSantis has declared a state of emergency in 51 counties. This as the region is reeling from the damage from Hurricane Helene. The death toll still rising, now at more than 230. 2023 was the driest year in more than 3 decades for the world's rivers, according to a new report from the United Nations Weather Agency, the WMO, World Meteorological Organization. The State of Global Water Resources 2023 cites record-breaking heat that led to a drying up of water flows and contributed to prolonged droughts in some places, while flooding and others that are becoming increasingly unpredictable. Celeste Saulo is Secretary General of the WMO.
What we call an erratic hydrological cycle, leading to sudden floods, severe droughts. And climate change is one of the causes of these extreme behaviors.
The UN says some 3.6 billion people face inadequate access to water for at least 1 month a year. That figure is expected to rise to 5 billion by the year 2050. The Supreme Court is taking the bench again, ready to hear cases on ghost guns, a death sentence, and transgender rights. I'm Christina Onnested, reporting for Pacifica Radio.